Oh. Good evening. If you're wondering why I'm at my PNG size tonight, it's because we are going to be doing hand cam stuff. That means I'm going to be looking down a lot. Let me... Ooh-ha, look! Ooh, the grabbers! Ooh, I'm going to get you! Okay, let's see. Getting a little distracted, getting slightly distracted. All right, back into it. All right, we get the wiki open. Oh my god, I know. Bring me to the wiki.site site. Fuck off. Here we go. So, I remember working on waypoint number 4 last time. So we open up here. Oh, that was number 5, so we're on number 6. Number 6, what's next? Number 7. Ooh! Dolly bogi soge Misuji sui you. Alright, here we go. Been a while since I cranked this thing out. Let me just... lubricate a little with some spittle. Inspection. Give me a moment. I need to step away to refill this. I need to step away to refill my damn pen real quick. I'm terribly sorry. We just started and I'm already experiencing difficulties.
그럼 다음 장을 향해 가볼까?
For a total
dreams never end. Now it's time for another vendetta. Going through the shells, picking out my pride and persona. Children of the city sees only the neon stars reflected upon the murky gutter sky. Now ask me why I desperately wish to be noticed by the city's eye. Do not go home until you finish reading The Value of Heat.
青く売れう月がかじかむ森を照らし出す。そこに遥か秘められた誰も知らない舞台があるの。列なして吐ける煙とくゆと冷たい舞台裏から駆け出せば鮮やかな光に出会った恋をして知らないあなたとワルツを踊りたい。誰もがみんな見とれるようなそれは素敵な結末があるの。明かり灯せコルセットの夜闇と彼に
Okay, sorry about that. Sorry about that. This fickle son of a bitch loves going empty all the time. Refilled it. Tried my best to wipe it off as best I could. Let me just... Ooh, look at that. Boom. So we're at waypoint number 6, the Abyss Incursion number 7. Oh, look at that. Distract again, okay. I had an absolutely fucking terrible experience with public transit today. First bad one in a long time. So there were these... Let's see, what is a term I can use for an unruly teen that is not typically racially charged? Ruffians. Rapscallions. Pieces of shit. That's the term I'm going for. There were these pieces of shit asshole teens on the bus today. And I had to deal with one of them screaming incessantly. And it was like not a constant, you know, like chosen one. It was, okay, so it was this kid, intermittently just like, like that, like in and out. Not the burger chain. So at first I was like, hey, could you please shut up? And then when I was like 2-3 stops from my from where I was going to get off to get something quick to make for dinner, I had decided to hit them with the, this is why your parents don't love you enough to actually raise you. You know, blaming whatever parental neglect that that exists there on them. Was this the right thing to do? No. Was it funny? Also no. There we go. Right. Go. So we add the languages for this area. Yeah, just throw a comment on there. I don't care anymore. Alright, so side quests. Yeah, I want to say 4 of them. So I make space for these. And then down here. There are no main quests that are performed at this area. Who is pinging me? Surprise movie in 10 minutes. Whoa. I could throw a movie up on my other monitor. I could throw up a movie on my other monitor. You wouldn't know if I'm watching a movie. You would never know if I'm watching a movie. I could be watching a movie right now, but I'm not. I'm explicitly telling you that I'm not currently watching a movie. Oh, yeah, here we go. All main quests. This location can trigger an alternate act 2. There we go. There we go. So the idea with splitting this campaign up into separate books is the concept of being able to produce like several different possible outcomes and have the main outcome as its own book. So for example, if they go through with the Abyss Incursion storyline, this is the players actively choosing their own path into the rest of the story. So if they go through the normal main quest, they get the main story. And then if instead they abandon that and go on a side quest, and the side quest activates an alternate act 2, that's them abandoning the main story, but it does still offer them a way forward into a new act 2 and a new act 3. Doing this, splitting up into acts, allows me to take notes on what my players are doing and then adapt the story that they choose to that. Oh yeah, also I have my geometry set here. I've only really used the ruler. Should probably get more use out of this compass at some point. If ever they end up wanting to pursue a story thread that I do not have like a plan for, like if they decide I want to see what's underground, and then they decide to force me to produce a oops, we're all going underground forever now storyline, I will be annoyed, but I will still like prepare something for that. Hang on, I'm getting distracted. What is this? Getting distracted. Hey, I need to correct someone being wrong. Alright, Minecraft modding is localized entirely into two or three launchers that are simple to use now. There we go. Mr. Cool, friend of the channel, is like, Minecraft modding is like terribly hard. Perception that is currently outdated, actually. Hang on, I'm getting distracted. Crazy style. Fuck. Thinking about bees. Alright, here we go. Here we go. Let me move you over this one way a bit, yeah. Now, go up. Go to your upward size. Show you how a bitch go up the slide. All right, here we go. So, oh yeah, here we go. All right. Here we go. All right. Yeah. So the 4 stages are the written test, the physical exam, picking up extra supplies, and then leaving to the Abyss Incursion. Oh wow, Hatsune Miku music. Whoa! I don't care. Put on something good instead, why don't you? How hard is it to ask them to put something good on instead of more fucking Hatsune Miku music? Has Hatsune Miku had a good song since, like, I want to say 2007, 2008? Anything good past then? I didn't think so. Oh yeah, I'm saying it. Here we go. Or Gorg, I'm distracted again. Sipping me my coffee. Alright, closing some tabs, ooh ah, closing some tabs, ooh ah. Here we go. Alright, here we go. I think we'll fill out the quest page for the Abyss Incursion, and then I'll work on my random encounter table. Alright, here we go. Huh? Fuck. Why are these pages blank then? Son of a bitch. Okay. We cut this out? Get that shit out of here. Yup. Ah, here we go. Okay, yeah. Why did I miss 2 pages? That's odd. Well, we can finish the side quest here. Yep, here we go. Go. Yeah, here we go. I got a notification. Let's see. Oh, new chat request on Blue Sky. Political study, huh? I'll think about doing that after work. Back into it. Having my own scissors, always a fun bit, by the way. There are scissors out in the main area over there, but so as to not hog them, I have my own. No reward, just Act 2. Yeah, Strange Journey Act 2, okay. So that is... Okay, yeah, here we go. Very... Exclusion Zone. This is the area that's going to be mildly inspired by... Not Stalker. Not Stalker specifically. The novel that Stalker is based on will inspire this one. Hang on. Oh yeah, I was just thinking about this earlier. So I've stated that I have no interest in returning to Voices of the Void, right? Primarily because of how it always attracts the most fucking annoying viewers possible.
And now for our Western listeners, say good afternoon, radio audience.
Like,
And now for our Eastern listeners, say good evening, radio audience.
the sort of viewers
Voters say for our Eastern
whom
good afternoon, radio audience.
I would not consider like adults. This is because they tend to, you know, spoil everything and ruin the experience of discovering things in a game that is ostensibly about discovering things. And I don't like that. But also because the entire game these days is fucking balanced around fucking with specifically Vinesauce Joel. Specifically Vinesauce Joel. And it pisses me off. It pisses me off so fucking much. I just want the scary game to have scary game nonsense. Like, very specifically, I find myself more and more annoyed with games always like trying to include like, haha, let's fuck around with this streamer. Let's update the game specifically to fuck with this guy. And it annoys me because I just want the game to be the game. I don't want to like see random guy I don't watch and have like, and have to question, is this is this cool thing I experienced in the game actually there for the players? Or is it just there because, haha, it'd be funny to fuck with this guy? It annoys me, especially when it's another like random white guy streamer. Fucking come on. The only good crossover item in that game, and you can quote me on this, the only good crossover item in that game is the plastic chair. Because while it is, yes, specifically there for Brandaniel, it's also just a fucking plastic chair. It is just a plastic chair. There's no wacky bit with it. There's no, haha, look, iconography for famous guy. No. It's just a plastic chair. And it's a 10 out of 10 on the plastic chair review because it has drainage slats. Let me sip down some coffee. Indie devs need to remember that while, yes, it is indeed possible to have fun, interesting bits with references to streamers, you also have to make them references, not explicit like copying of bits or explicit shoutouts to that streamer. It annoys me greatly. It pisses me off to no end. Let's really tempt the players in the area that will kill them if they stay there too long. Here we go. Why 2 main quests? So if they're there for 2 sessions, it changes Act 2 forever. But like, it's sort of the problem that I tend to have with D&D YouTubers. Now you may be wondering, Roger, what do you mean? D&D YouTubers get pandered to so fucking hard because people watch them instead of actually playing the game, right? So, for example, people will often expect people who are just, DMing their home game in their free time. People will see that and say, oh, you should do this bit from D&D live play show I like. And the person who will either, acquiesce or, and this is more common, they'll just, freak the fuck out if you don't, do it. So your options when dealing with someone who, listens to Critical Role, for example, famously hated by the show. People who like Critical Role will want every single fucking campaign they're in to be a Critical Role. And, full disrespect to Matt Mercer, actually. I hate him now. I don't want Critical Role in all my tables. I want me. I want my slime. I want my slop. Why should I cater to someone who just wants to do Critical Role again? When I could write my own stuff, do my own work, and not crib off of Matt Mercer, famous man. I mean, at this point, Critical Role has tarnished my opinion of the man so hard that he could be outed as a sex pest and I wouldn't care. Because oh yeah, I hate him. There is a darkness in my heart that is there primarily because I've developed hatred for famous people as soon as they become intrinsically tied to a project that I dislike. Here we go, back into it. The fact that people cannot be relatively normal about, their Dungeons & Dragons shows online is why I refuse to run it unless I have an idea that is banging. Unless I have an idea that I think can only be done with the mechanics of Dungeons & Dragons, I'm not going to run Dungeons & Dragons. There are other games with more interesting mechanics, with more interesting ideas that I want to run before I go to Dungeons & Dragons. Alright, here we go. Yep, here we go. Feast. Divorce. You know what? Yeah. Dark Carnival, Whoop Whoop and all that. The only reasonably decent idea I have for Dungeons and Dragons that I've come up with as of late is setting out a plot hook where, hey, this one character that is either in your party or your party knows wants to go on a pilgrimage to the King's Highway deep in the Underdark and would like some help. And that's only because I can turn it into like don't turn left at the crossroads type of situation. Searching for a section of the Underdark that doesn't exist. YouTube essay. Hang on, let me pull in. Where's my soda? Where's my soda? Today's extra beverage, Jones Cane Sugar Soda with root beer flavor. 30 years. Room temp. Let's peep that bottle cap. You gotta be fucking kidding me. God damn it. They don't even have the actual like thing on the bottom of the cap now. I gotta go to a website from a QR code. This sucks. Oh, yep, here we go. So here's the main reason they're there, to kill Istis, King of the Dark Elves. Or eliminate the Fae. Now, this may seem random, but I want to have it so that if they stay in the zone too long, right? I want to have it so that if they stay in the zone too long, their bodies are replaced with essentially clones made of the same, like, ethereal matter as the fairies. Like, the mind's still the same, but they cannot leave the zone anymore because they've been fully subsumed into it and will radiate, like, the fairy radiation that can ruin the rest of the continent. I think that would be fun. I think that would be interesting. Is it really cribbing off of, is it really cribbing off of good old Annihilation? Hell yeah. Am I at least stealing an interesting and intriguing idea? Also, hell yeah. Alright, let's see. We have 3 out of 5 side quests decided. Okay. Hang on, I'm rotating which is higher. There we go. There we go. Adjusting volume and all that. All right, back end up. All right, let's see. Alright, snake oil salesman. Let's see. One last. Oh, yeah. The classic witch encounter. Alright, yep, here we are. Coming up with ideas, coming up with ideas, coming up with ideas. I think another reason I tend to bristle very harshly against Dungeons and Dragons is that with each new edition, it feels like they're stripping away interesting ideas that I might have otherwise wanted to use. And by no means am I like disallowed from bringing those ideas back, of course. However, I also don't want to have to go back to an older edition to grab an idea that I find particularly interesting. Like, yes, I could just, you know, play like 3.5, where I'm rolling up the stats for my big main villain and giving him one of these cool villain classes. And that is an idea I did play with for returning to Dungeons and Dragons at some point. Especially if I were to, for example, run a 5e game, I would have a character whose entire bit is that I use rules from an earlier edition when you're fighting against him because he's an ancient wizard. Which would be a really funny bit, but also that would mean I would have to play Dungeons and Dragons 5e, and I cannot overstate how much I don't want to do that. I will learn, like, meta broken builds to fuck with anyone who tries to rope me into it. This is a solemn Roger promise. I will not play nice. I will play adversarially, not only against the DM, but against my fellow players. Hitting the DM with, "Oh, DM, you forgot to give us rolls to make." Is there a save I should be making for this? Just fucking ruining the experience for everyone else because I am miserable that I've been roped into playing this game that I hate. Alright, let's see. Side quests. Sipping my coffee. All right, here we go. I've been notified of something. Not interesting, not interesting. Okay. Okay, let me. I should have kept that page I cut out. Basically, I will play 5e. However, I will only play 5e if I have an idea for a character where I can use the rules as maliciously as possible. I will run 5e if I have an interesting idea for a campaign that can only be played with Dungeons and Dragons. But I would rather play an older edition of Dungeons and Dragons than play 5e. If you force me to touch a Wizards of the Coast product, it will be on my terms. If I want some fantasy slime, I'm whipping out Sword World. I'm whipping out some other nonsense that I might want. It's like when your friends or your family drag you out to a to a restaurant that you otherwise don't like. But you have to be annoying. I'm enjoying Baldur's Gate 3, but that's only because it is a video game and I'm playing it with my friends. If I have to deal with the actual dice, the actual pen and paper of the game, or God forbid, D&D Beyond, I've heard horror stories about that one, I will get very upset. Baldur's Gate 3 is a game with its own, like, sort of, like, interpretations of the rules. How about Roll20? It's been a while, but I know I was not particularly fond of it. Because of, like, how weird it is as a virtual tabletop. Like, to be more specific about what I like about Baldur's Gate, it is its own sort of contained interpretation of Dungeons & Dragons. While it does play on the cultural tropes that do annoy me about Dungeons & Dragons, it is its own sort of thing, if that makes sense. Use Roll20. I need to do more research into virtual tabletops because I know there's no real sort of virtual tabletop for Sword World specifically. I would have to find something that allows me to import rules and stuff, and I would have to import all the rules into something, and it would be annoying. And I don't think Roll20 has anything like that. I might fuck around with Foundry or whatever. I have to do research. I have to do the research. I have to do the Googling. All right, here we go. Plus, like, I like the idea of sort of opening up myself as the gateway people have to non-Dungeons and Dragons games. Because let's be honest, let's be grown up. You've seen how Wizards of the Coast has been acting. I've seen how Wizards of the Coast has been acting. Might as well, like, make learning other systems as easy and fun as possible for people. That way, if or when Wizards of the Coast implodes under the weight of their own girth, people know how to do other things. Oh, my back. Oh, my back. Oh, let's see. What do I name these? What do I name these again? Okay. The Feast, Divorce, Snake Oil Salesman, Witch, and a Dark Carnival. Wizards of the Coast doesn't see how they're acting because they're the ones doing it, and they think they're probably making the right decision. They see all these, like, for example, all these random Magic the Gathering crossovers, and they're like, wow, players are going to love these. It has all their favorite characters in it. And then the numbers go down, and they're like, huh, maybe it wasn't the right crossover. Like, they're seeing the consequences of their actions, but they're not comprehending what those consequences mean. Like, they see people still buying Dungeons and Dragons, even with all the, like, complaints. And they're, you know, banking on people still selling it as the everything game. And they're like, oh, we'll release this new edition. People will like it. And then they don't like it. And thankfully, sometimes they're like, okay, we're going to pull that back. What I would do if I were the guy in charge of Dungeons and Dragons, you know, imagine me in a nice little suit in that office, I would say, let's reprint an older edition with an anniversary tag on it and fix some of the gameplay problems. And then I'd see where we go from there. It wouldn't be anything revolutionary quite yet. It would just be making older content widely available with some fixes. And I would monitor how people react to that. If they don't like it, we can change direction. If they do like it, we can also change direction. Is it the Reheated Leftovers, the HD remaster of the tabletop scene? Yes. But I think some people might like those Reheated Leftovers. Pizza's always nice when you put it in the microwave. I would also see about spinning off the basic rules into a sort of generic system instead of simply implying, hey, you can apply this tone to your Dungeons and Dragons. Yeah, sometimes having leftover pizza from the fridge is just fine. Sometimes it's like better when you reheat it. All right, let's see. So let's give this quest 2 segments. Here we go. Ah, yeah. I fucked up the divorce. Yup. Many such cases. Ooh, ah. Like, something that's important to keep in mind, especially regarding companies, is that they know what they are doing in only the basic sense of they are seeing the actions they are taking, but not the way they would be interpreted or the way they would impact people. Which is why we get Wizards of the Coast. Which is why you see Wizards of the Coast going in and saying, all right, we want to do this. And it's like, that turns out bad. Is my Dungeons and Dragons idea going to be based on Takashi's challenge for the Nintendo Famicom? No. My idea... I don't think I have any free paper. Now let's just dump that on the very last page and then I can rip that out. So my basic idea for a campaign that I have buzzing in the back of my head after I watched, I believe it was William SRT's phenomenal video about the Underdark. I recommend watching it after this. Is a sort of odyssey or journey where you start up on the surface and then let's see, upper dark, middle dark. You start up on the surface, and as part of maybe a cleric or paladin's pilgrimage, you go down, with no seeming end in sight, because the cleric or paladin in question worships the king who crawls, who was canon in 4E if I remember correctly. So as a part of the pilgrimage, you're just going down forever. And that's the bit. The bit is that it is sort of a journey to the center of the planet. It's sort of a journey that you're not supposed to return from. One of the inspirations for this would probably be something like searching for a world that doesn't exist. The Minecraft video that was inspired by the first couple chapters of The King in Yellow, where your journey simply keeps getting stranger and stranger, and unexplained things keep happening as you go deeper in. All right, here we go. Like, the entire bit is the descent. No, Dante's Inferno is more of a guided tour. This is wandering aimlessly as you search for the next, sort of checkpoint or chapel. Also reminds me of Kletka. Haha. I'm excited to play that game with you guys. Hang on, we have a notification in here. Nice. Ooh, okay. The entire point of the journey is not to have sort of a guided tour until you break through into Purgatory like in Dante's Inferno. The purpose of the journey is to go as deep as you can. And due to how the Underdark works, madness is the only reasonable outcome unless you are especially powerful, or especially strong-willed. As my brain understands the lure. I find the idea of going into the big hole that makes you go crazy, go stupid, is very fun. Hang on, I'm getting distracted again. The problem is preparing that specific sort of campaign would require maybe 1 to 2 tomes, and I only have 1 tome available for salvaging my Mage the Ascension canceled campaign. Now the evil part for me, the evil part of adding side quests to the fairy exclusion zone is the fact that if the party takes 2 full sessions inside the zone, it automatically activates the evil and fucked up Act 2 for this area. Meaning, these are distractions. These are here to make them waste time so they get stuck. Let's see. Let's just make Divorce the longest side quest in the entire fucking area. Four-step divorce. Now, I call these steps, but they're more so segments of the side quest, because how I am envisioning them is that these are basically flags you have to hit, and then you move on to the next portion of the side quest. There's no definite length or time on any of these steps, which means it is entirely possible for a two-step quest to take longer than a four-step quest, or for a four-step quest to take like an entire session. Big sippy. Here we go. As far as I'm aware, Dungeons and Dragons is really the only sort of system where having basically one continuous dungeon crawl would be a like viable option for a campaign. Because stuff like this expects you to have like, you know, travel time figured out and provisions and stuff, and it's very granular with preparation for travel and for survival. As far as I'm aware, Dungeons and Dragons is the only one that has a spell that literally just lets you conjure food. Alright, let's see. Alright, so let's attend. Okay, here we go. Let me make some actual progress before I keep talking. Here's the problem with these streams. I get so caught up in talking and blabbering about stuff relating to tabletop that I end up forgetting that I'm supposed to be doing shit. It's nice to talk about things. It's just, you know, I gotta actually get work done on this if I want to have it done within the next handful of months. Here we go. Sipping my coffee. Getting super giga distracted right now. All right, back into it. Back into it. I have some brain poison in me now. All right, so intercept. So you intercept the argument. Pick sides. File. File the paperwork. And then finally, you attend court. I don't know for certain. Depends on how eager my my players end up being to speed through this entire process. But it would be really fucking funny to see this take up an entire session. It would be super funny to see this take up an entire session. Now, to be clear, I have not banned them from returning to this area later. However, I'm going to assume that my players are not going to turn back around and return to an area if they're like certain they're done with everything there. If my players are certain they've done everything there, I do not believe it is likely for them to return just for a divorce trial. Next one. All right, I'm changing Q. This one's not fucking with me. Now we're talking. Distracted. Back into it. Okay. When it just says reward, assume I'm giving the players like one chance to roll on the reward table, which I'll have to do at the end of all this. Like a big table with all the sorts of rewards, stuff like that. Oh yeah, for context, let me go get my bag of dice. Give me a second. Oh. Okay. Whoa. Okay. So, if you're wondering how Sword World is played, right? I'm going to get out all the dice you need. That's it. No D10s, no D20s, just 2D6. That's it. That's all you need. Anyone can play this. If you own Monopoly, you own basically everything you need to get started with Sword World. It's simple, it's easy, and the translations, the rule books, those are free. Hang on. Leg itchy.
I said certified freak, 7 days a week. Wet ass pussy, make that pull-out game weak. Yeah, you fucking with some wet ass pussy. Bring a bucket and a mop for this wet ass pussy. Give me everything you got for this wet ass pussy.
Hang on, now I'm just having fun rolling these.
Extra large and extra hard. Put this pussy right in your face. Swipe your nose like a credit card. Hop on top. I wanna ride.
If I remember right, this is a critical failure. You automatically fail any check. This, I believe, is an automatic success. No matter what, whenever you're making rolls and checking your skills, you are gaining EXP. Normally, the game requires you to seek out and spend money with people who can train you in your specific class. However, I'm choosing to waive that rule, if only because it is cumbersome and it annoys me. I will limit leveling up to whenever your characters are camping for the night, for example. However, I will never require a trainer unless it is like a very high level, or if it's a specific like thing you want to learn that is difficult to acquire. Big sippy. All right, back into it. Yumpy. All right, back into it, back into it. Let's see. Snake oil salesman. All right, here we go. There we go. I'm getting into a flow state. I'm trying to lock in. I'm having trouble. I'm attempting to lock in. There have been attempts. I need to call the locksmith because I'm locked the fuck out. All right, back into it. Trying to focus. I'm trying to do it. Let's see. There we go. All right, here we go. Strange. Okay. There we go. I love the way it feels to write with this. This is a nice pen. I think I've said it before. This is the Pilot Kakino. I have an adapter inside because the cartridges it came with are non-refillable. Well, non-refillable with the current tools I have. If you have a syringe, you can refill basically any cartridge. Here we go. Which? All right, here we go. All right, let's see. All right. What was the last one? 1, 2, 3. I missed one. Dark Carnival. Okay, whoop whoop and all that. This is going to be a more complex one, so I'm actually going to get out my geometry tools. All right, here we go. Let me see. Okay. All right, here we go. Here we are. Here we go. All right, here we go. Witness a clown. Here we go. Control the narrative reliably. Maybe it's all about me. All right, here we go. Here we go.
I'm the gap between a tragedy and comedy. Don't come at me. I'm the main
Quickly.
character and you have to like me.
think it's a CK. I think quickly. I think quick is a CK. I don't remember. Yeah, I'm pretty sure, yeah. Alright, let's see. Let me see. Yeah, there we go. Smaller, 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 smaller. Yeah, here we go. Here we go. So let's see. Now we're talking. Now we're talking. Here we go. We close that up.
Her Majesty says the royal we demand a standard of loyalty, an agreement to
Here we go.
lick the emperor's new boots. The court fool got in the guillotine. The witch is the stake, you the dopamine. And Siemens made the Zyklon B, but we all still get the flu. We all do what we need.
Let me check. How's that camera angle actually? You can see most of the page. That's fine, yeah. So, God forbid I'm seen just as an average human being. I mean, imagine if protagonist I'm between a tragedy and comedy. Don't forget me. I'm the main character and you have to love me. There we go. All right.
Bitch, I said what I said. I'd rather be famous instead. I let all that get to my head. I don't care, I paint the town red. Bitch, I said what I said. I'd rather be famous
Enter tent.
instead. I let all that get to my head. I don't care, I paint the town red.
Meet the Juggalo.
She a bad little bitch, she a rebel. Yeah, said my happiness is all of your misery. I put good
Yeah. Yeah. I'm putting juggalos in here. Whoop whoop and all that. What are you gonna do? Stop me?
Tennessee, they just want my love and my energy. You can't talk no shit without penalties. Bitch, I'm in your shit. If you send for me, I'm gonna grow up one more time. Trust me, I have magical foresight. You gonna see me sleeping in courtside. You gonna see me eating 10 more times. Ugh,
There we go.
I look better with no hair. Ugh, ain't no sign I can't smoke it. Ugh, give me
Ho ho.
I'll go there. Bitch, I said what I said. I'd rather be famous instead. I let all that get to my head. I don't care, I paint the town red. Bitch, I said what I said. I'd rather be famous instead. I let all that get to my head. I don't care, I paint the town red.
Here we go.
She the devil. She put her foot to the pedal. Yeah, said pop make money, now you try bitch.
Here we go. I love having to figure out how to put shit away. Oh. You put you away, buh? Main quest time. Here we go.
Now you try, bitch. You need a new vibe, sis. Don't need a new sidekick.
Main quest. Here we go. Sip my coffee.
That little bitch.
Eulistus. Or here we go. Let's say 500 gold. On 1,000 XP. And then two reward rolls. Mind if I go on a little tangent, by the way? I have this entire pound of dice that I have scarcely used. Here they are. Let me grab for you some of my favorites. Fire Blue D6. Half and half red gray. That's a D10 for those who are listening. Ooh, this one's a goodie. You're gonna love this one. Sort of pearlescent blue, like glitter filled with red lettering. That's a D4. Mimi, my little pyramid. Oh, I dropped one. Hang on, I dropped. One of my dice fell through my lap. I need to find this shit. There we go. Sky blue and white mixed pearlescent. That's also a D4. Black and purple pearlescent, also a D4. They gave me a lot of pearlescent D4s in this batch. For those unaware, this is a pound of dice from Chessex. It's a bunch of rejects that were still usable. They just looked a little fucked up. Orange and black pearlescent, another D4. I call this color scheme toothpaste pearlescent. This is a minty green, a blue, and a purplish. That's a D6. Pearlescent pink and black mix, D20. What is this? I don't think I like that one much. This one's a pearlescent purple and blue D6. Here we go. Where the fuck? This is a clear D20. I think it got put in the reject pile because there's a little air bubble in the center, but I think it looks nice. It adds to the look. We're not even working on the actual campaign anymore. I'm just showing you cool dice that I have. Ooh, I love this one. This is a smoky clear one that's black and clear. Look at that. I love that. Ooh, here's a fun little D10 for you. That's a pearlescent clear-ish blue mixed in with white on a D10. See, what's this? That's just a normal purple one. Ooh, I think this might be one of the last ones. This is a... I think this is spackled. There's bits of red, a lot of orange in there, and it's clear. That's another D20. I know there's another fire blue in here. If you're wondering what I mean exactly by fire blue, it is specifically a Doom 2 texture glitch coloration. Many say it looks like shit, but I love it. Oh, this is the other fire blue. This is a D8. Ooh, pearlescent gray with red coloring. That's a D4. What's this? This is like birthday cake or bubblegum. Like, you know, cheap bubblegum. There's some dark specks in there, a little bit of blue, a little bit of red in a eggshell D20. That's not going on my favorites board, though. I'm leaving that in the box. Well, bag. I don't have a box for these. It'd be pretty cool if I did. I don't feel like digging through this anymore. Let's get back into the main meat. I hope you enjoyed my cool dice showcase. I said maybe I'm gonna be the one that saves me. And after all, you're my wonderful. Here we go. Here we go. Big ol' sip 'em, and then we're back in. All right, here we go. Here we go. Barry home. Yep, here we go. I'm getting distracted. Okay. I'm worn out. I want to go eat. I want to take a break. I want to play some games, and I want to go eat. So I'm going to end for tonight. Thank you for joining me while I worked on this, and thank you for listening to me ramble. I'm sorry that I got quiet at the end. I just wanted to focus down the last little bit so that I could finish in peace. I will have a schedule up on my socials tonight. I'm gonna do some vacuuming. I know some shit in my carpet. Not actual shit, but, you know, dust, debris, nail clippings, confusingly. I'm pretty sure I'm usually good about wiping those up. Guess not. Love yourselves. Love others. Tell people you care about that you care about them. Of course, I will see you next week. Have a good night. Goodbye.